Hey, Lashpreneurs, it is the 7-year anniversary of the Lashpreneur. On November 1st, 2016, I put out the very first Lash Biz tip of the day. This was before Reels. This is just when they moved videos on Instagram from 30 seconds to 1 minute. And so I had 1 minute to try and get a point across. And it actually, that experience and doing every day, these 1 minute Lash Biz tip of the days helped me to get very concise with my teaching. So we have had now 7 years later, over 3,000 students go through our programs. And so today's episode is going to be the 7 things I've learned in 7 years of the Lashpreneur. And I've got a very special offer for you at the end to celebrate 7 years of doing this Lashpreneur thing. All right, let's start off with number one. Number one, I have learned over the years that people tend to overcomplicate marketing, and I myself included. What I hear is that a lot of people want to try a whole bunch of new different things. They're looking for the next shiny thing. They try one thing out, but they test it out. It doesn't work. So then they switch to something else. And what I found and what our programs really teach to is simplifying marketing and having marketing be very simple, very step-by-step, but repeatable, and actually growing one platform or one channel or one marketing thing that works really, really well. So we speak to this, we call it the marketing funnel inside of our programs, where you create this funnel. Think about an upside down triangle. I think we talked about it in previous episodes. But really, you're just trying to get people to go through the funnel, and adding a whole bunch of different things to different layers of the funnel means that you have a harder time knowing what actually works to get a customer in the door. So chances are you have something or a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 things that work really well to get somebody into your business. Don't add more, just do those things more and better. That's number one. Stop overcomplicating your marketing. Number 2, you can't grow what you don't know. That means knowing your numbers. If you want your numbers to grow in the direction you want them to grow, if you want profit, if you want more money, if you want more sales, you want more clients, you have to actually track that data to know what is working and what is not working. When you test something out, or you think, okay, I want to, let's say I'm going to run a discount or a promotion. If you're not being a scientist and actually experimenting with what you're doing and seeing if it actually works, then we're kind of just throwing a bunch of spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. But what we end up doing is we don't look at what sticks, and we don't look at why did it stick. We just keep throwing more spaghetti at the wall, and you're just wasting a lot of spaghetti. You know what I mean? So actually tracking data in your business has been transformational for me to make database decisions, to get my feelings out of the way, and to have more stability and consistency in the growth, rather than these peaks of growth, but I don't know how to recreate that. Number 3, failure is a choice. I can no longer count on one hand or 2 hands or 2 hands and 2 feet the times that I've wanted to quit, the times that I've labeled something as a failure and thought I just need to give up, the times that I've looked on Indeed for jobs, the times that I've reached out to people in the industry going hey, I think I might walk away from this. You hiring? And every time push comes to shove, I've only left, I've only quit once. But even then, I didn't label it as a failure. I labeled it as a learning lesson, and that what I was doing couldn't continue. And I had to really give myself a pause and pull back to look at what needed to change. And it was a really freeing experience and empowering experience to be able to walk away from the business in 2021 for about 4 months and get some clarity on where I'd been treating business just all kinds of wrong, and made it not fun. So failure is a choice. You get to choose what series of events you're labeling as a failure. And if that doesn't motivate you, then change the meaning of failure or take failure off the table. Even if you reach $0 in any sort of bank account, doesn't mean you have to quit, doesn't mean you have to stop, doesn't mean you label it as a failure. It's just information that what you're doing is not actually working to get you to the result. So we need to do something different, or we need to try something different, or we just can't keep going down this path because we're just going to keep getting the same result. So failure really is a choice that you can choose to fail, quote unquote, at something, or you can choose that you're actually learning, and what you thought was going to work didn't. And so you're going to do differently next time, or you're going to do better next time. Number 4, there is no real urgency. Gosh, the first, I would say probably 4 years of running my business, it felt like every fire, every problem, every hiccup in the business felt catastrophic. And that physical anxiety and that tension that would come up from any sort of problem coming up was such a roller coaster. And I learned over time in business that roller coasters are just kind of part of it. And if you've gone on enough of the roller coasters, you kind of know like the roller coaster ends and you get off the ride and then you go wait in line for another roller coaster. Like your emotional ups and downs, once you get used to it and the fact that like one mistake, one bad email, one bad review, all of that isn't going to like completely destroy your business and your life, you kind of start to get used to the emotional ups and downs and not catastrophize them. And so this feeling of urgency, if I have to solve a problem, it has to be completed. I've really gotten used to and regulated around problems don't have to be solved right away. In fact, me emotionally regulating myself and calming my nervous system down before I ever take any actions on the solution tends to get a better result and actually creates a permanent solution as opposed to a Band-Aid or a temporary fix or duct tape in the business that I have to fix later. So that's something that has been amazing over, especially I'd say the last 2 years, is they'll feel like a problem that has to be solved right away. And honestly, the more I sit with it, the more I can let the scared fear feeling dissipate, the more clear I am to actually solve for whatever the problem is, rather than constantly reacting to whatever stimuli, whatever problem is coming at me. I can respond with intention and strategy. Number 5, shiny objects cost you way more than they ever make you. I almost guaranteed shiny objects will cost you more than they ever make you, whether that's a second location, whether that is hiring a team member, a warm body strategy that you never thought was gonna, or that you thought was gonna like bring in a bunch more sales, but it ends up costing you more money. That new equipment, that new machine, that new training, that new. When we have a shiny object, which is basically a distraction from the path that you're currently heading down, most of the time I've seen that cost way more than it ever makes somebody. And it runs rampant. And I understand why. People are trying to get out of a problem. But generally speaking, the problem that most people, get distracted by shiny objects is they're trying to make more money. And so they think this thing over here is going to make them more money. It's going to make it easier for them. It's going to make life, they're going to get more freedom. But usually that is them starting a second business, but they don't have evidence of the first business actually working to get the result they want. If they just focused in on fixing the problems in the original business, they would find they would get more time freedom and more money freedom. They just don't know how to fix those problems. So they start over on another business, and now they have 2 businesses and they're kind of doing, poorly on both of them, and they're watering down where their attention goes. So shiny objects cost you more than they'll ever make you for the most part. Number 6, the fear of failure and perfectionism, man. That comes up. I mean, it still comes up for me, not nearly as much because I can poke holes in that, but I see that blocking so many people, so many students. It has to be perfect. It's not perfect yet. I don't know. It's just not there yet. Progress over perfection, my friends. You are not going to know what's on the other side of you taking action until you take action. So is it that something has to be perfect, or you have to figure it out along the way? Your action will create the clarity of what needs to be done for you to change something to be perfect. But you thinking that it needs to be perfect before you've ever had the experience of putting something out there or testing something out or trying something new, you're never going to have all of the variables figured out because you're inexperienced in doing that thing. So you getting the experience of testing something, learning what you don't know to then change and optimize the whatever it is, will get you closer to the result of quote unquote perfect. And not even half the time, 99.999% of the time, when somebody is struggling with perfectionism, I say, great, tell me exactly what the step-by-steps are for perfect, or what the check boxes are for something to be perfect. And they can't tell me. Right? They're like, I don't know. I have to, and they just run circles. They don't actually have a definition of what perfect is. Therefore, they don't have something to actually work through to check all the boxes. It's just a great way to self-sabotage. You don't need to have anything perfect to put it out there. Perfect doesn't exist. It's a great way to shame yourself and feel like you're not good enough. But guess what? When you take messy, sloppy action and you make progress, chances are the more you do that, the more quote unquote perfect it will become, because you will be learning how to make something better along the way. But having the expectation that you're going to know how to run a marathon before you've ever learned to stand can't happen. Can't happen. It doesn't happen. It's not realistic. And last but not least, probably no surprise for me as the Lashpreneur, mindset is your number one key to success. You can know all the step-by-steps and how-tos in the world. You can have master's level degrees, doctorates in business and marketing, and still not have a successful business, still not be able to pay yourself. Why? Because what happens between the ears is far more relevant to your success and your enjoyment of your business and your life than any external result that you'll ever have. The journey of who you're becoming in business is far more beneficial and rewarding than any dollar amount in the bank account, right? Who you're becoming in the journey of entrepreneurship, that's what you should be obsessing over. That's what you should fall in love with, because those results, they're going to be temporary. They are. You're going to reach new levels. Even if you are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you're going to adjust to that level of income, and then you're going to put that juicy carrot a little bit further out. So it may never feel like enough. You keep thinking that if I get to a certain level, then I'll be happy. No, 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 my friend. Happiness can be had right now in this moment. Your joy, your enjoyment of life, your fulfillment of life can be had in this moment right now. We don't need to wait till tomorrow or the next day. We don't get any more time in the life. So be present now, be obsessed with who you're becoming along this journey. Look back at how far you've come and stop wishing away the life that you have now that at one point you dreamed of having. Your mindset is the number one key to your feeling of accomplishment and success. So as 7 years of the Lashpreneur kind of kicks off, I wanted to invite you to join me inside of the Lashpreneur Society, our group business coaching program, for $7 for a 7-day trial to check it out, where we talk a lot about mindset stuff. We talk about marketing. We talk about accounting and financials. We talk about policies, legalities, everything you need to know to go from overlooked to fully booked in your business. That's inside of that program. And we have a coaching call happening next week that I would love for you to jump on. We've got master classes about ChatGPT and how to make your content so much easier. We've got holiday success marketing classes. We've got coaches. We've got a community that are all highly driven, highly supportive women that can't wait to watch you succeed in business. So thank you so much for going on this journey with me over the last 7 years. Cheers to you for following along on this journey. If you have any questions about how to run your business better, if you want to join us inside the Lashpreneur Society, you can head on over to thelashpreneur.com/7-day trial. That's thelashpreneur.com/7, DAYTRIAL. I'll link it up in the show notes. All right, Lashpreneurs, I'll see you next time. Have a good one.